Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the BURKE Brigade. Tonight is Wednesday, August 23rd.
I can't stop it, people. I'm sorry. Don't stop them.
2017. The BURKE Brigade, brought to you by
The Liberty Daily, your conservative alternative to the Drudge Report.
Go to thelibertydaily.com. Thank you so much for tuning in to the BURKE Brigade. Tonight is episode 15 already. Episode 15. We've done 15 of these. That's pretty cool. All right, starting at the top here.
What's your name, hon?
I forgot.
You didn't say it.
I didn't forget my name. I just forgot to say it.
You just forgot to say it.
I am Matthew Burke.
And I am Jennifer Burke.
We are not original Tea Partiers, but original Tea Partiers from the original modern day Tea Party in Seattle, Washington in February of 2009.
The Porculus Rally.
Yeah, the famous Porculus Rally, which was a rally or a protest, a peaceful rally.
Yes.
Where there wasn't a cigarette butt on the ground. There were no windows broken. There wasn't a gum wrapper or anything. It was a protest against the bailouts.
Yep.
The bank bailouts. So that was kind of the whole start of everything when Obama and George W. Bush triggered a nation.
When he abandoned his free market principles to quote-unquote save the free market.
What a hoax. Okay, so
love George Bush
a little bit of history.
In some ways with his devotion to the military, but dude, that was wrong.
Yep. Okay. Tonight they had a rally in front of the NFL headquarters in New York City to protest for communist cop hater Castro lover Colin Kaepernick. Because the NAACP and other front groups feel that he is entitled to a job. And now, somehow, he's being discriminated against because apparently of the color of his skin. Even though there's a black quarterback for Seattle, right?
Right. There's a black quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, right?
Yeah. So why is there no discrimination against them?
Yeah. You know, these idiots that want to say, we're against fascism, as they accuse other people on the right of being exactly who they are, think that they can strong-arm and bully a private organization into hiring who they want them to hire. Newsflash. These idiot Kaepernick supporters who want to strong-arm and bully NFL teams and hire him. If you want Colin Kaepernick, who had crappy statistics last year, who hasn't been good since he went in the year after his rookie year, was that correct?
Right.
Who can run but can't throw. If he wants to run, maybe he should change positions because he can't throw with accuracy worth a darn. If you want him to have a starting position, why don't you buy an NFL team so you can give him one?
Yeah, that's a good idea. And you know what? People might look at his stats and say, okay, last year, I'm going off the top of my head here, so forgive me for rounding, but I think he had 16 TDs and only 4 picks or something like that, which is, not bad at all. But it was mostly garbage time.
Right.
Because the 49ers were so lousy last year that, he was just mopping up, basically.
And the only reason he got in,
let's see, what defense.
Remind me, did their starter get hurt, or did he just suck even more?
Yeah, that Blaine Gabbert was the starter, and then I believe either he got hurt or they put in Kaepernick. I don't recall. It doesn't matter. Blaine Gabbert beat him out.
Right.
And Gabbert
has been known as the worst. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
But
look, Colin Kaepernick is not entitled to a job. Lest you forget, Dr. Martin Luther King said he believed people should be judged by the content of their character, and I might add, by their skill set and not by the color of their skin. And you want Kaepernick to get a job simply because of the color of his skin. You, I guess, want to disavow his white side because he is half white. He was raised by all-white parents in an all-white family in an affluent white neighborhood.
I think he's Obama.
Right.
Maybe
exactly.
he thinks he's Obama.
Exactly. Oh, I meant to say this when we were talking about Kaepernick the other night. I remember in the 1970s, there was such a thing. I don't know if you know this, honey, because I am the chocolate part of this relationship.
Right, and I am vanilla, but I do like the chocolate.
There was such a thing in the 70s as a blowout kit. Where, because afros were big in the 70s, and you could put this stuff in your hair, and it would, like, make your hair, like, blow out like a big afro.
Like really frizzy.
Yeah. And so I will never forget the first time I saw Kaepernick this last season, and he had this big old afro. I looked at Matthew, and I said, what in the world did he do to his hair? Did he use a blowout kit? Because if you saw Kaepernick's hair before, it was, curly, but fine. Curly,
right.
Maybe similar to Russell Wilson's hair, who's also of mixed race.
Right.
And I'm like, he's trying to play the part.
He's trying to look like he's down for the
part.
struggle.
So then he went from either the big afro, courtesy of the blowout kit, or cornrows.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't watch episodes of The Jeffersons to get his George Jefferson walk on.
So, this is from the Daily Caller tonight. Here's useful idiot Susan Sarandon. I stand with Colin Kaepernick. I stand with Colin. Now, if you're new to the show, and you probably are if you're listening, because we've only done 15 episodes here, but there are a lot of American liberals, progressives, lefties, soft leftists that deserve to be called useful idiots. Useful idiots was a term used by Vladimir Lenin, Soviet, USSR butcher. And it was used to refer to those who were easily manipulated. Mm-hmm. And the old Ruskies knew that American liberals were fertile territory. They were Ray, quiet Ray.
I know, Ray, you hate hearing about these Russians.
Every time I talk about commies, Ray,
we raised our dogs well.
Yep, they do not like the commies. So they were easily duped. American liberals are easily duped, and they fall for propaganda so easily. So here is Susan Sarandon. She was, of course, a sycophantic supporter of Soviet-style socialist Bernie Sanders, right? Who honeymooned in the Soviet Union, by the way, during the Cold War. Not because it was a nice place, believe me. There were ulterior motives there. And she is supporting cop hater, Castro lover,
America basher,
Colin Kaepernick. So she gets to wear the title useful idiot tonight. So she's out there tweeting, rally in support of Colin Kaepernick in front of the NFL. Together we win. I stand with Colin.
Susan, you have a bunch of money. Why don't you go buy an NFL team and give them a job?
Yeah, I'm sure, 3 or 4, get George Clooney and a few of you lefties together. You could go start your own NFL franchise. Shoot, you can start your own NFL league.
Oh my gosh, I just saw a post on Facebook from a friend of mine from 4 hours ago. The terrorist-loving Linda Sarsour, who the left is trying to now give a makeover into a feminist icon, was speaking at the Colin Kaepernick rally.
Of course.
So, of course, they're aligning themselves
all
with the terrorist lover.
Yeah. All uniting. The commies, the terrorists, and what do they have in common?
They hate America.
Hate America, and they hate Christ. They hate God. They hate the Judeo-Christian values that made America great. So that is the left. They can't argue anything. They just, get in these little cabals and chant and create violence. So NFL now, they've got a sign here outside.
Oh my gosh.
One of these agitators is carrying. says NFL. You know what that stands for now? Negro Fall in Line. If you can't see the beautiful Jennifer Burke, you just missed the mother of all eye rolls.
Oh my goodness! So I said on the episode before, I grew up watching football. I'm from Texas, where football is king. We watched football in the living room, my entire family, on Sunday afternoons. It's what we did. After I grew up and moved away, I'd call my dad after every football game, Monday night, Thursday night, special Saturday night, Sunday. I have news for you, person. Negro fall in line. First of all, people like you are the ones who want Negroes to fall in line, because I guarantee you that you would attack a Negro like me for being on the right side of the political aisle. Secondly, the NFL is what made a lot of these, in your words, Negroes, filthy rich.
Right.
Filthy rich. More money, money, cars, women, big houses and gated communities, most of them. Their lives would be dramatically different had they not been given the opportunity to play football. Number 3, a lot of these people, including Colin Kaepernick, were given the opportunities they were because of a white man. Colin Kaepernick, as I said before, his
can't say that.
Mother
was
white, biological father
racist.
was black, biological father was
racist.
never in the picture. White biological mother gave him up for adoption. White wealthy family in California adopted him and raised
Such a
him
racist. I don't
in
know
a
how you
wealthy
say
white
this.
community. His white football coach, Colin Kaepernick, wanted to play football, and I read before that colleges were more interested in him for baseball. His white high school football coach.
Ray.
I know, Ray. This is very upsetting.
It sure is beautiful here. Dad, come on.
Ads. His white high school football coach put together a reel of tape for him and shopped it around to different colleges trying to get him a scholarship for football. A white coach at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, gave him a shot and gave him a spot on the team.
All those racists.
All those white racists. Oh my God, trying to give
all the
Colin
racists
Kaepernick opportunities. And then he made it into the NFL. Should he have? I mean, one could say, should he have made it into the NFL? I mean, he's not been a smash hit. He had that one good season.
He had one very good year.
One very good year. And then he showed that he just didn't have the well-developed skill set to really make it as a premier quarterback in this league. Well, now it's racist that he doesn't have a job. He's entitled. He's entitled to a job because of the color of his skin. Really? But I guess that makes sense, since you have Black Lives Matter idiots telling white people, give up your house to a minority family.
Yeah, that's
They think that white people should just bow down. They want equality so much that they think white people should just bow down and give to them what they want.
But didn't Kaepernick opt out of his contract with the 49ers because he wanted to go on to bigger and better things?
Well, even worse than that. Kaepernick had been injured, and he was supposed to start some kind of rehab, something, by a certain date. He didn't, because if he wasn't well, if he was still injured by a certain date, the 49ers wouldn't be able to cut him. So that was the game he was playing.
Oh, that's right.
To begin with. That was the game he was playing. And so they were forced to keep him on.
You mean he was trying to manipulate the system?
Oh, my God.
Shocker.
Yeah. So then he opted out. He said he was going to be, a free agent?
Yeah.
And he chose to be a free agent. Somebody anonymously, New York Times, CNN, MSNBC use anonymous sources. Let's go with this. Somebody in the NFL anonymously said that Colin Kaepernick was offered a contract by an NFL team for league minimum $900,000.
And he turned it down.
So he could play this little race baiting card.
Right.
I think he's trying to jockey for position to be the next
Malcolm
Resist
X.
We Much Al Sharpton.
Okay, so here is the guy from the NAACP Communist Front Group. You notice there's no conservatives in that organization. In other words, they use race to promote communism. But this fine gentleman who needs a constitutional lesson from Heritage or something, Derek, what's his name? Derek Johnson, Derrick. He has officially requested a formal meeting with NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell.
Get over yourself, dude.
To discuss the NFL players and their ability to exercise their First Amendment rights. Who is stopping him from from using his First Amendment rights?
Nobody, but truth doesn't matter to these people. They will twist reality to fit their agenda.
The First Amendment was created to stop government.
Oh my goodness.
To stop government from keeping a private citizen from saying bad things against the government. The NFL is not the government. It's a private institution. They could tell him he has to stand on his head at halftime and kiss the flag in order to have his job.
Yep.
And it would be legal.
Right. And these same people wanting to talk about, he has a First Amendment right to do that. You can't discriminate against his First Amendment right to a private organization.
It's not a First Amendment
right. It's not a First Amendment right, but my point is these same people cheered Obama on as he was sicking the government on those that he perceived as his political enemies.
Right, like when he sicked the IRS, the Obama IRS, against the Tea Party because they had the gall to believe in constitutionally limited government.
Right, when he had Dinesh D'Souza thrown in jail.
Right.
When other lefties had avoided jail
for
far less, far less. Honey, trending on Twitter, hashtag I'm with Cap.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He can go ahead and do his First Amendment stuff all he wants, but guess what? It's the fans' right not to go to any games where that bun of a sitch is playing. It's also the right of fans to tune out from any of these other flag sitters. And you know what? That's exactly what happened last year. And there was a poll not long ago that showed that is the number one reason why the NFL, whose ratings never go down year after year, they went down, is people did not want to see leftist political agitators using the football field to further their communist agenda.
Right. Exactly. So
here's this Derek Johnson from the NAACP Communist Front Group. Last season, Mr. Kaepernick chose to exercise his First Amendment rights. It's not a First Amendment right. By protesting the inequitable treatment of people in color in America. That ain't happening either. By quietly taking, if that was true, he wouldn't have had a damn job in the first place.
Right.
By quietly taking a knee, yeah, that's what it was. During the national anthem, he was able to shine a light on the many injustices. How did that work out? Particularly the disproportionate occurrences of police misconduct toward communities of colors. That also has been scientifically disproven. As outlined in your office's public statement, the act of dissent is well within the National Football League's stated bylaws. Yeah, not in the middle of the game. He can go out after the game. He can get in the Black Lives Matter rally. He can join the Communist Party USA if he wants to, if he's not already a member, and I'm sure he probably is. And that would be just great. And you know what? No fan would give a rat's you-know-what to any large degree. But every company, every private industry has got codes of conduct.
Yep.
And while they don't even have a rule that a player has to stand and put their hand over their heart, guess what? Fans don't have to watch it.
Right.
You can't force the fans to watch it. We cut way back. And we
used to not miss a game.
Fan.
And it got to the point last year, thanks to Colin Kaepernick and the idiots
who
followed him, we didn't care. We're like,
let's go for a Sunday drive.
Yeah, let's just go for a drive. Oh, yeah, let's go run out errands. I didn't watch most halftime shows because I didn't want hear them talking about, this player raise their hand, raise their fist like a Black Panther. This player sat down. This player took a knee. This player did. I didn't want to hear that. I didn't watch the pregame shows because I didn't want to hear all that crap.
Right. Unbelievable. So, speaking of useful idiots, Ami Horowitz has got a new video out. Everybody knows what's going on in Venezuela. You're seeing the fruits of socialism / communism.
Yep.
Come to its ugly head.
Rear its ugly head.
Which is always starvation, poverty, and violence.
Just eat rocks.
Yeah, just eat rocks. It's okay.
You know, they used to...
How are you going to wipe your butt? I don't know. Maybe a government official do it for you.
I remember when eat
There's
rocks
no toilet
was
paper.
just something that, like, you heard on Charlie Brown or something.
Right.
But then now it turned into official Venezuelan socialist government instructions to their hungry citizens.
So here is America's useful idiots who are interviewed here by Ami Horowitz. This is on the Blaze. And they're saying how great Venezuela must be in this socialist hellhole. Because why? Because they have income equality. It's like, yeah, hey, idiots, they're all dirt poor. They're all dirt poor. Why? Because there's no incentive for anybody to produce anything.
That does
because the government steals it all.
Right. If there's an industry that turns out
the
to
government
be profitable,
takes it over.
The government will take it over.
Okay, so let's listen.
I'm Ami Horowitz, and I'm in the East Village, hipster capital of New York. I wanted to find out how important a value is income equality. So how important, first of all, is income equality for you?
It's extremely important.
Pretty important. I work for the working families.
100%. I think that it's really important and something that has to be taken care of, yeah.
It's really important.
Right, it almost seems like a trick question.
Income inequality is definitely one of those issues from which everything else sort of stems off of.
Is that an important value to you guys? That we should be more income equal?
Yeah. Other issues will perpetuate it when you want to talk about climate change and that sort of thing.
Okay, so clearly income equality is a value. I wonder what country we should model ourselves after. As I explained to them, Venezuela is in the middle of an economic crisis with food shortages, day-long lockdowns.
So you can't see this, obviously, but he's showing the lines where people are bashing each other in food lines. But the great news is they're all equal.
Yes.
For basic necessities and massive violence. This is what income equality looks like. Sweet. Venezuela obviously is in the news a lot now because of all the economic issues that are occurring there, as we know. The lines of food and that kind of stuff. But
Look at this idiot nodding his head like a freak.
here's the upside. So Bernie Sanders gave a speech about how Venezuela is very income equal. Even though there's some downside, there's some violence there and there's food lines, but still everybody has to do the same thing. They wait in line equally.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, a fair system.
I agree.
Even though they've got all the food lines and stuff, that's still, it's more important that they're income equal, correct?
Yes.
With you? Okay.
And I think they do a very good job.
Should we moderate?
Yeah, they're doing a great job.
Bang up job.
You know what? How come you're not moving there, pal? I don't get it. Why is everybody trying to come to America from that hellhole? But nobody, it's not the other way around.
Right?
Yourselves more like a Venezuela to become more income equal?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, economically, it would be nice because it would be even for all.
I do think that we should model after them, and I do think that we should look at what they're doing.
I do think we should model after them because there's nothing more fair and equal than freaking food lines.
Right?
I feel like that would be a better plan.
Than what we have today in America.
Yeah.
Okay, look at her. You remember what I said about useful idiots? Here's the poster child right here.
I feel like
As an Hispanic, you have a good sense of that stuff.
yeah.
If we all give a little bit, and become a little bit more socialist, that's how we do it,
If you got to wait in line for stuff, we should all
That's
wait
a
in
good
line
idea.
together.
Right.
Essentially.
We all have less, everybody has more.
So this guy is wearing a T-shirt. He works for the Working Families Party. which
AKA commies.
Yeah. It's part of the Communist Party USA. It's just sickening.
You can think of it like that.
A lot like the rest of the world, which is a lot more dignified than us.
And is it fair to say that economics, our economic model shouldn't be about stats, but more about feelings and personal stuff, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Viva la Venezuela. Hey, I'm back. As a big believer in redistribution of wealth, please feel free to go to amihorowitz.com and make a donation.
So there you go, amihorowitz.com. He's made some really excellent videos like this. You can see it at the Blaze. The title is Watch Millennials Say Venezuela is Doing a Great Job of Handling Income Inequality. But you know what? It's really not, because in countries like that, there's massive income inequality. Yep. You've got, what they call the huddled masses. They're all dirt poor. And then you have the very few elitists that, just happen to work for government for some strange reason. They're all filthy rich.
Right. Remember when, I don't know if it was Castro's granddaughter or Maduro's granddaughter, posted pictures of herself on social media, and you could see the lavish lifestyle that she led while the people lived in squalor?
I think it was Castro's daughter, if I remember correctly. If I remember correctly. So there's your useful idiot update for today. We've got
useful idiot number 2.
You've got Susan Sarandon, kissing Colin Kaepernick's commie rear end, and then you've got these useful idiots in New York, hashtag New York values, that are perfectly fine with food lines, riots, food shortages,
lack
no
of toilet paper,
etc. Dirty water, dirty air. Hey, but as long as there's income equality and Bernie Sanders is happy, we're good with it.
Right. Let's buy Bernie a 4th house.
Good. That's some funny stuff right there. So, what do we have next on the agenda? What we have next on the agenda is President Trump, last night during his Phoenix rally, he said that he hinted very strongly, didn't he, that he was going to pardon Sheriff Joe.
Yes. He said Sheriff Joe doesn't have anything to worry about.
Yeah, he's going to be just fine. Well, CNN, and this is probably not a fake news story, they reported that the White House has prepared the paperwork for President Trump to pardon former Sheriff Joe Arpaio when he makes the final decision to do so. CNN has learned. Now, Arpaio, he was convicted for basically refusing to bow to the false progressive pagan god of political correctness, because he had the audacity to try to enforce immigration laws.
Federal immigration laws.
Because the federal government under America's first Marxist president, Barack Obama, wouldn't. And so he absolutely deserves to be pardoned. I hope it's very, very, very soon.
Amen.
Would you be for that?
I would be for that. It's ridiculous. Remember when we were signing our youngest son up for baseball, all the documentation we had to produce?
Oh,
we had to actually produce a birth certificate to prove he was the age that we said he was.
Oh, yeah, and it couldn't just be a photocopy. I mean, it had to be an embossed, certified copy. But yet, to vote or something like that. Speaking of voter ID, a leftist Obama-appointed judge, her name is Nelva, N-E-L-V-A.
The hell kind of name is that?
Gonzalez Ramos, Nelva Gonzalez Ramos, a leftist activist, Obama-appointed judge, shot down or rejected the Texas voter ID law because she wants to be an activist or a legislator instead of a judge.
Right. You know what? I don't get this. I'm black. I guess I have to say that every episode. You can't, if you're just listening, if you're not looking at the picture that you see on the screen as you're listening. I'm a black woman. I don't get this having to produce a ID card is racist. I remember long before I could drive, my mom took us down to...
so you do need an ID to drive a car?
Yes, you do need an ID to drive a car.
Okay.
And my mom took
us down... Do minorities
down,
have cars?
I guess liberals want
Or just whiteys get the cars?
Right. My mom took me down to the DMV to get an ID card. You know, if you don't have a...
What a racist.
If you don't have a...
Obviously a racist.
If you don't have a driver's license, you can have an ID card. Because you need that ID card to do many, many things. You need that ID card to register for school. You need that ID card to buy certain over-the-counter medications.
Wait. Hold on. Minorities buy medications?
Well, if it was the federal government, I guess they want to keep them sick and help them die. Because according to lefties in the government, like Barack Obama, when he was the president of the United States, requiring a voter ID to do anything is racist. So, and you're trying to disenfranchise them. You're trying to keep them down. So I used to say, so what? Is the federal government trying to keep minorities sick by requiring an ID card in order to buy this medication?
Could be.
You have to have...
Could be it's racist, obviously.
Are they trying to keep black people from being able to fly on an airplane?
So let's listen.
Hold on, and one more thing. And are they trying to keep... Did you make me forget?
Yeah.
Flying on an airplane, are they trying to keep them... opening a P.O. box. You have to produce an ID card to open a P.O. box.
Wait, minorities get mail? Why are they allowed to get mail?
I swear, I need to go
mail.
and make a big stink at the post office and try to open one and tell them they're racist for asking me for my ID.
Oh, that would be so funny. So let's listen here. I'll read you what this progressive leftist Obama activist masquerading as a federal judge, what's her name again? Judge Nelva Gonzalez Ramos ruled on Wednesday that the Texas voter ID law, SB 14 and SB 5, somehow have, quote, an impermissible discriminatory effect against Hispanics and African Americans, and was passed with a purpose in violation of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act and the 14th and 15th Amendments of the...
Insane.
Slavery too?
Insane. God.
She's absolutely nuttier than a fruitcake.
Maybe someone should question her. Hey, Ana Navarro, are you going to question her mental stability?
Her name's not Ana Navarro.
No, you know what Ana Navarro said about Donald Trump? Are you going to question this lunatic's mental stability to serve on the court? Because I think that she's a lunatic.
So
is she suffering from early onset dementia? as you asked about Donald Trump.
That's right. So that's what federal judge Nelva Gonzalez Ramos, who is apparently a proponent of voter fraud or thinks minorities are too stupid to carry ID, even though they in every race need ID for nearly every important thing in life, like Jennifer mentioned, and like getting on an airplane. Or buying.
Let me ask you, what's the first part of her hyphenation?
Applying for welfare, applying for Social Security.
What's the first? Oh, Gonzalez. Let me ask you, Nelva Gonzalez Ramos. Did you have to produce identification when you applied to college? Did you have to produce it when you applied to law school?
They probably, because she's a minority, she didn't have to. I bet.
When you go into the federal building in which you work.
No.
Or do you not? And you claim that it's racist.
Or go to an Obama rally back in the day.
Right. If you have to fly to D.C. for a meeting for some reason, do you accuse the airlines of being racist for making?
No. If you're a minority, you don't have to show your ID. You just look at the TSA guard and you say racist, and then they let you go by.
Yeah. Admit, Nelva Gonzalez Ramos, what you want to do is to infiltrate our elections. Make our election system unsafe, unclean, and allow people to vote who have no right to vote in this country because they are not American citizens.
And 85% of them, studies show, i.e. science, that they will vote for the Democrat Party. Yep. Funny how that works. So the Democrats, pushing their America-hating communist agenda, They're losing American voters by the droves.
To hell with them.
They're losing them by the droves. And so what they got to do is, all their voters are leaving out the front door, and they've got to hurry up and get the illegals in through the back door to try to replace them, get them hooked on free crap that other taxpayers are paying for.
On the hook for.
Yeah, the cocaine of government dependence, and then they'll vote Democrat forever. Mm-hmm. That is the dirty little secrets. So Texas should immediately begin impeachment proceedings against this corrupt judge, activist, Nelva Gonzalez Ramos. Race obviously has nothing to do with any voter ID law, and that all races, all voters, are subject to the exact same law.
Right. When Matthew and I go vote, he has to produce something to show who he is.
Even though I am as white as the driven snow.
And I have to produce something to show why. They don't look at me and say, ma'am, can I see?
Even though you are beautiful hot chocolate.
Thanks, honey.
So, like most leftist judges, Gonzalez Ramos is making crap up out of thin air, pulling it out of her bodily crevices in order to further voter fraud, which, of course, helps the Democrat Party, and that is the real reason every Democrat in America is against voter ID laws.
Yep.
They have to cheat.
Remember that video? And it was,
and they're proud of it.
It was when the Democrats and Obama were, attacking Texas and other states that were trying to require voter ID to vote, and saying how it was racist. And there was video of Obama, one of the few times he actually returned to Chicago to vote.
Right.
And a black woman who was at the booth kind of laughed and looked at him and said, "I'm sorry, Mr. President, sir, but I have to see your ID." Why? Because that was the law, and Obama
probably a racist.
produced it.
Probably a racist. So, Reuters today.
Sorry, baby.
Stepped in.
Talking to my dog.
Stepped in a big pile of crap. They tried to rival ESPN by one-upping them. Last night we talked about this. We did the broadcast late, as we always do, here on the Burke Brigade.
Brought to you by the Liberty Daily.
TheLibertyDaily.com, your conservative alternative to
The Drudge Report.
And Reuters, Reuters. Reuters is like Associated Press. It's a wire service. They were brutally mocked for their coverage of the Antifa, America-hating communists, agitators, the violent group at the Trump rally in Phoenix, Arizona last night. By the way, go to the Right Scoop. There's a wonderful video. This is a feel-good video of an Antifa goon kicking, what do you call it?
I don't know.
Hold on. I'm getting old. What do you call it? It'll come to me. I'll find it here. Where the hell is it?
Kicking a what?
Oh, here it is. Pepper spray bomb thingy. He was trying to... Oh, a can of tear gas. That's what, I couldn't think of the words. He was trying to kick a can of tear gas towards the police. This goon was. And the police responded by shooting him in the gonads with the Right Scoop says, in the tool bag.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
With a pepper ball or whatever it was. The news report, this was on an Arizona station, I think, said it was a rubber bullet. I don't think it was a rubber bullet, or the guy probably wouldn't have walked away quite so easily. But it was an excellent shot, excellent marksmanship. And
thank you, Men in Blue.
Yes, and I wholeheartedly endorse that shot into the agitator. and there needs to be a lot more of that. That is not a First Amendment right. You don't get to be a rebel rouser. It's not a peaceful protest. Okay, you hate America. You need to get the hell out of our country. But Reuters called these kinds of people. I mean, here's an agitator, an Antifa communist agitator. He's wearing a gas mask. So you already know that George Soros bought him his damn mask, and he's trying to cause trouble.
Yeah, when you see one of these violent idiots wearing a gas mask, you know they are geared up for mayhem.
Right. Anarchy and mayhem.
Because they know that once they start escalating, police are going to bring out the tear gas.
Yep.
And so they're prepared so they can continue to wreak more havoc.
Oh, I'm not kidding you. That is just such a great video. Oh. So anyhow, Reuters called this guy, all these leftist haters that are causing this violence, peace activists.
That's even worse
Quote,
than CNN saying they were seeking peace through violence.
Peace activists.
Good night.
Because there's nothing more peaceful than breaking windows, lighting buildings on fire,
throwing urine and feces and
at the
bricks
police
and concrete blocks at the police.
Yeah, that was strike number one against Reuters, which lost all credibility today. I mean, all credibility today. And so they called them peace activists.
Remember what they called the Tea Party way back in the day?
Oh, terrorists?
Terrorists, anarchists, prone to violence.
Yeah,
even
no
though there was
violence.
not one incidence of violence.
Yeah, hundreds of tea parties all over America, not one incidence of violence, and yet they still said they were violent. Unfreaking real. But yet these guys, I mean, this is Soviet-style propaganda. It's unreal. It's Orwellian.
And this is Reuters?
Reuters!
This isn't the Daily Cause.
No, it's not some leftist blog. It's Reuters.
Amazing.
So Reuters is
what's
obviously...
going on Journalist. Is that still up?
I don't know.
Oh, look.
Okay, so listen. That was strike number one. Strike number two was the guy that got, quote, reassigned, Robert Lee, the Asian.
Lee, let me just add, Lee is a pretty common Asian name like Smith is.
His name was Robert Lee, so they reassigned him from the Virginia game.
He might offend some SJW.
It's too close to Robert Lee.
It's gonna trigger them.
For God's sakes! It's Robert E. Lee's grandson, I'll bet you. He's Asian. It's unfreaking real.
This is how ridiculous and idiotic society is today.
Listen to this, and this is from the Washington Free Beacon. Reuters mocked for coverage of, quote, peace activists at Trump protests. Robert E. Lee's doppelganger at ESPN. So they actually said that this Robert Lee was a doppelganger of Confederate...
No!
Confederate General Robert E. Lee. Now, isn't doppelganger the definition like someone that looks almost identical to someone else?
Yes.
So this Asian dude,
my lord,
looks like Robert E. Lee somehow. Are you freaking kidding me?
Reuters, really?
What the hell?
How much?
What the hell is going on?
So
listen to this. This is the great part. So then at 12:59 p.m., you get this from @Reuters. Correction. We have changed the caption of this photo, which inaccurately characterized the anti-Trump protesters as, quote, peace activists. So they can't even call them the communists that they are.
Right.
They got so much of a blowback on social media that they changed it from peace activists. So now they're calling them anti-Trump protesters.
Anti-Trump activists.
These people have been protesting this kind of way for decades.
And they find the thing du jour to protest, whether it's
the World Trade Center in Seattle. What was that, year 2000 or something?
Yeah, I remember.
I'd have to look it up. But they were going down just indiscriminately, black hooded, same goon squad,
same thing,
breaking windows.
Masks.
They're anti-capitalists. They're anti-capitalists.
I have a friend who was a police officer in Seattle at that time.
Nothing to do with Trump.
He said he, remember standing there. I mean, they were just standing there in their full gear while these anarchists were spitting in their faces.
Right. But they are, according to Reuters, peace activists. That's a funny way of promoting peace.
Right. Peace through violence, according to CNN. Peace through violence.
Unflippin' real. I mean, how are you so damn dumb? These people are highly educated.
They're evil.
I think that's it.
They're evil.
They're evil. They're total propagandists that have no interest in the truth.
Nope.
And this is why Trump, who is obviously rough around the edges, and that is a huge understatement. He's not a conservative, which I have a huge problem with. But you know what? He's totally justified calling these Bonaviciches fake news. Because that is fake news. When you see the video of these violent communist, anti-American agitators, and then you label them peace activists, I mean, George Orwell should come back from the grave and rewrite 1984 again.
Right.
But call it 2017.
Right. That's
up is down, left is right, good is bad, right is wrong.
Almost as bad as, remember the other day we talked about some of these lefty news organizations in the Democrat media complex calling them patriots. And the Boston Antifa quickly came back and said, F your patriotism and F your America and American flag. That's not what we are. They hate America and they are violent. Call a spade a spade.
Did we talk about that?
No, I didn't know.
Oh, I missed that. Okay, so speaking of violent leftists, violent progressive leftists, a violent leftist group, this is via the Daily Caller, plans to, quote, shut down a Berkeley march against Marxism. You can't make this stuff up.
But I thought that
peace protesters.
I thought that the Democrat media complex said that they were patriots.
Now, where are the Democrats condemning this? Oh yeah, I forgot. The Democrats are communists. That's why you never see them speaking out about this.
Never.
It's unreal.
Ever. They'll cover them as buildings are burning. They'll cover them and say they're mostly peaceful.
Yeah, I saw a peaceful one.
It was just a few outsiders who came in and
it's like saying, during Hitler's reign, not all Nazis were violent. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You have a violent leftist group called BAM, which is an acronym that stands for By Any Means Necessary. By any means necessary. So this is another one of those anti-American front groups, BAMN, likely funded by anti-American billionaire, leftist globalist George Soros.
Close friend of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, who in a sane world would be facing treason charges right now. You know, why is it even complicated? Remember, you don't remember, I don't remember either, but I've read about the House of Representatives had a committee on un-American activities. And they used to bust these subversive groups like this. And of course they shut it down, saying, oh, we don't like the tactics or whatever. Look, we have a country here. We don't have anarchy. We are a constitutional republic. We're not a damn democracy.
We're not mob rule democracy.
We're not mob rule. We are a republic, and you don't get to come in the damn country and try to destroy it. You don't. And that's what these subversive groups are doing. Now, ironically, Joe McCarthy was a senator. He wasn't part of this House of Un-American Activities because that was in the House of Representatives. But they disbanded it. But they need to reload it.
Because the commies, they want to talk about
You're
white
racist,
nationalists.
you're
They want to
racist.
talk about white nationalists on the rise? No, that's not what's on the rise. That Boston free speech rally was planned long before it happened in Charlottesville. These commies just tried to attack it and tried to portray it as the same thing. What is on the rise, as is evidenced by Bolshevik Bernie coming in second in the Democrat primary and would have come in first had the DNC and Hillary Clinton not colluded to prevent him from coming in first. What's on the rise is communism and socialism in America. Period. That's what's on the rise, and that's what the Democrat media complex won't tell you. Why? Because they believe in it. They want to protect it. They want it to happen without you realizing that it's happening.
Right. So, reading from the Daily Caller here, 2 weeks after violent clashes in Charlottesville, Virginia, and 1 week after violent protests in Boston, another violent clash is shaping up to take place in Berkeley, California, which, you know, Berkeley has always been a hotbed of communism. Violent leftist group, By Any Means Necessary, BAMN, is rallying forces to, quote, shut down a planned march against Marxism. So that means they're for Marxism. In Berkeley, California. Berkeley has already been the site of repeated instances of political violence this year, predominantly by far-left actors. BAM, B-A-M-N, is organizing to shut down what it claims is neo-Nazi. Here's their strategy. Anybody they disagree with, if you stand for the U.S. Constitution and the principles that give us freedom, they want to shut you the hell down by calling you a Nazi. Mm-hmm. So I want to shut them down by calling them what they are, by speaking the truth. If they're bold enough to lie about us, we are bold enough to tell the truth about them. They are America-hating communists, and they need to be driven out of this country to North Korea, to a communist country,
Venezuela,
where they can stand their damn food lines and be happy as hell.
And eat rocks.
Yeah, and eat your damn rocks. And enjoy the protein. Okay, last but not least, moving on from communists to rhinos.
Mm-hmm.
Rhino, Arizona Senator Jeff Flake. Arizona, as you know, honey, has two establishment rhino squishes. John McCain and Jeff Flake. Jeff the Flake. Almost like Luther the Strange. Mm-hmm. Jeff the Flake. In Arizona. Someday we're going to have to tell the story of our dogs. It's getting late in the game, but...
Yeah, we need to tell it. I'll tell it. You know I'll tell it. I wrote about it.
Yeah. We're going to have to talk about that. Jeff Flake, just to give you a little tease here, to tune into later issues of the BURKE Brigade, has ties through his son to dog cruelty. Let's just end it with that. But Flake is...
Not just dog cruelty, dog murder, but go on.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Terrible. We're big dog lovers. Jeff Flake is getting trounced in a poll, in a new poll in Arizona. He is down by a whopping 14 points to Dr. Kelly Ward, who is a former Arizona state senator, even despite her much lesser degree of name identification. And Flake, has got an F Liberty score through conservative review, as does John McCain. Mm-hmm. And so Flake, in this poll, and this is through what's the name of the organization? It's an Arizona pollster. I can't seem to find it right here, but it's on townhall.com. Oh, High Ground, AZ High Ground. AZ High Ground. He has a 14-point lead, 42-28. Or, I'm sorry, Kelly Ward does, over Jeff the Flake. And now Flake also is losing to probably going to be a Democrat opponent in that race, Kirsten Sinema. In Arizona...
The bisexual commie.
Yeah, the bisexual, the only outwardly bisexual in Congress right now. She's a U.S. Arizona congresswoman from AZ9.
And signed a communist pledge.
Yeah, and she's a communist. So she happens to be in a district that supports that kind of anti-American sexual perversion and confusion. But statewide, even though probably most of the state doesn't know that she's a bisexual communist, she's still beating Jeff Flake. That's how bad he is. That's how bad rhinoism is. When you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for anything.
You've got to stand for something, or you fall for anything, as Aaron Tepin would say.
Oh my gosh! And so you are so funny. And now Jeff Flake, this is just shameful. He tried to co-op and almost plagiarize a legendary conservative book by legendary conservative Barry Goldwater.
Arizona's Barry Goldwater.
Right. And he called it A Conscience of a Conservative. And I remember back when I got in the movement, that was one of the first books I read.
I think we have that book on our bookshelf.
We do. And it's ghostwritten by Brent Bozell of the Media Research Center's father. He has, CNS News, Newsbusters. They just do unbelievable work. And Brent Bozell blasted Jeff the Flake over bastardizing that book. And he said Jeff Flake is neither a conservative nor does he have a conscience. Conscience of a conservative. Jeff Flake is neither a conservative nor does he have a conscience. He called him an imposter. Unreal. And said his father would be appalled by having his work bastardized by Jeff Flake. Here's what he said. On behalf of my late father and my family, I am denouncing Senator Jeff Flake and his new book, dishonestly titled Conscience of a Conservative. Since entering the Senate in 2013, Jeff Flake has time and again proven he is part of the indulgent hypocrisy in Washington. While he waxes poetically about conservative principles, his Conservative Review Liberty score is an abysmal 53%. That's out of 100. Also known as F. In 2013.
I'm surprised at 53.
Yeah, but you've got a school teacher background. What happens if you get a 53 on the test?
You fail.
Yeah, you don't graduate. I watched firsthand as Flake refused to sign a letter pledging to defund Obamacare among his many betrayals to conservatism. Jeff Flake is neither a conservative nor does he have a conscience. So he goes on. But so Jeff Flake learned from Rhino establishment squish John McCain.
Latrine.
You govern as a liberal Democrat to give people free crap. But then to get reelected in a conservative state, during the campaign, you all of a sudden rip off that mask and put on a new one and pretend to be Ronald Reagan like you're a real conservative.
And hope that people...
And you get millions of dollars from the Chamber of Crony Capitalism, and you buy votes that way.
Right.
And, it's really unfortunate, but it works. Because most people have just simply tuned out. So we're approaching an hour here, my dear. Is it time to end this lovely evening?
I think it is time to wrap it up and go and veg out with a little television.
What are your final words for this evening? Do you have anything?
My final words for this evening to wrap it up.
Bring it on home. Do you have anything? If not, I'll think of something.
I think I would say, the NFL is ramping up. As Matthew and I have said, we're big NFL fans, but as we're doing this show, I usually scroll online, see if anything new, hot is happening, any breaking news or whatever. And I see this article posted by a friend of mine, and it's from ESPN. 12 Browns players kneel in prayer over racial and social injustice.
I'm just gonna be a little judgmental and say that probably was not a real prayer, because I think you could probably pray at other times.
I think the writer just threw in prayer, but I thought we can't have prayer on the football field. After all, Joe, what's his name? Joe from Seattle, Joe Kennedy.
Oh yeah. You can't pray on the football field.
Lost his job because he's praying on the football field. Now all of a sudden
so
it's
probably
cool.
not prayer.
Now all of a sudden it's cool, but no, NFL. Look. Oh my God! Pause for a minute. The dog bark. Guys, quiet. So let me just say this.
That's the only sign this broadcast is in.
Right?
Ray, zip it.
Ray, stop.
Ray.
NFL, put your foot down. Show who actually runs the league.
Yeah, tell your employees how to act.
You're going to lose viewership if you allow this to continue to happen. These pretentious prima donna, overpaid men who hit people and throw and catch footballs to want to talk about racial and social injustice. Look, why don't you actually do something about it? Take your money, go to a poor, low-income area, and form an organization to help people rise out of poverty. Don't sit there on your freaking high horse and act like you are so overburdened. You are so discriminated against, making $3 million, $4 million, $18 million, even $900,000 a year to do what you do. NFL, you're going to lose viewers, and then you're going to go into oblivion if you continue this mess. Just like, what was it? Arena football's still going on. Mm-hmm. What was that football league that Nancy Pelosi and her husband bought a team and then refused to pay the players and coaches?
All right, but no backlash about that.
Yeah, you're going to go into oblivion like that league whose name I can't even remember.
NFL needs competition anyway, because obviously they've lost control of their players. All right, everybody. God bless you. Thank you so much for tuning into the Burke Brigade. We're a new franchise here, just starting out. We appreciate you sharing us on social media. God bless you, club. God bless America.
God bless America, everybody. Have a great night.